So you're back. All right. Got the parts I needed. I was gonna finish the preamp, but we originally wanted to start and do the power amp section. So I'm gonna go back to the power amp section and get that done, because that's what needs to get done. All right, so where we left off, we were hooking up the plate resistors for the phase inverter, and we were going to move it on over, and I can't see those. I'll have to move this back and forth so you can see what I'm doing. Move it over to our pots. I also have this installed that I'm going to use to loop, or I should say, guide our wires. Just going to run them through there. Well, these are too big, but run them through there so I keep them where they need to be so we don't get any cross wiring. Where were we? We were here, which means that we need to get the plates to the inverter. Move this out of the way. Install those in a minute. Let's just get the inverter hooked up here. See if we can run them over here, over this way, and run them back to here. I got my, see, this is bolted on. I use those self-tapping screws, so it's a very good ground because it is very much connected to the chassis. So I have both these, this cap and this cap is now grounded. That problem solved. These things, this one was a bit of a pain to get the fuse actually inside it. That wasn't fun, but it does work. I'm still messing around with this design. I don't know if I'll use it again, but I think I'm gonna, once I get the main power in, I'm gonna get some zip ties and get them moved away. But I think I'm pretty good not being in the way of these wires, but I still want to make sure that they don't move. We will work on that. So just to confirm, my glasses, which way I had it. Here's my 82, this is my 100. So we need to make sure and keep it exactly right. Right is right, left is left. If you don't, it gets weird. So we want to make sure we got this going here and that going here. Okay, we have the plates for the inverter. This is the 82K, this is the 1K. We're going to work from there to here. Then we're going to move over to here, which is actually where it comes into. It comes from our preamp and goes into this section here, which is where the whole magic of the inversion and the tube works together. And then once it's through that section, it goes to the plates. Or I should say, comes out the plate, goes here. And normally this is one section. I've shown that before, but because we're splitting, that's what we're doing. So we're just going to go just like you would in a preamp section. It's got to hit this. We're going to get a couple of capacitors, which is what we're missing. And then we're going to run it over here. So let's see how close I can get it. Yeah, I'm going to have to move this around a lot, but that's okay. Okay, so let's just get some wire to the plates over here. We're going to remember right, left, left, and keep that all the way right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Keep it all in order. It has to be done that way, or you could have some problems when you have your feedback resistor, or I should say your negative feedback resistor. I talked about that. It will cause feedback in your system, positive feedback if you have them backwards. So let's get this. Let's get our wire. Drink some beer. All right. Got a storm coming in. It's been wanting to come down. We got a lot of rain here. Okay, let's get these plates out. So we have, that's our 9, that's our 8, that's our cathode, that's our plate, and that's our grid. No, sorry, I got that backwards. Yeah, sorry. That's our grid, that's our plate. You gotta remember, it's weird. It goes 2 in 2, out 1, in 7, out 6. Just the way it is. So I'm gonna, let's get this baby in here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's deal with this crap again. Let's move this back so you can see it. Braid wire keeps splitting it. There we go. That's one thing when you're dealing with a stranded wire. Make sure you're not getting any strays that are going to the other pins. All right, that looks fine. And that's going to come over to here. We'll keep it a little high. Better to be a little above than to cross. So we're going to go here, we'll cut it about there. And my little wire cutters now that I found. So there we go here. Try and cut that a little shorter, that's okay. Better cut it twice. Cut once and screw it up. Right. So that's going to go into, just make sure I got this right. Right watch, yes, so this is going to be the right side, so it's going to be the 100. I'm going to cut the other one, put it in so I can do all this at one time. So, into that one. There's my little screwdriver. All right. There. I'm putting my hands in there. There we go. Pinch it all nice and good. You bend the little pin out. Keep it away from everything else. Right. That looks fine. Bring it over to here. All right. Well, then there, now we got to get our capacitors. Got them. These aren't Mallory's, but they're the same thing. And quite frankly, looking at them, I'm pretty sure Mallory just puts their names on these. They look almost exact. Yeah, these are big. Okay. watch out. That bolt holding the transformer's right there, so I gotta watch out when I put stuff in there. Wow. Another one of those things where my design looked great on paper. But when I put it out here, it's a little small. That's okay. I should say my layout, not my design, but you know, design, layout design, whatever you want to call it. If you don't have your actual parts for measurement, it doesn't always work. Okay, so we are good with that. Hit that. We gotta tin this baby, get some little heat going. Okay. Kind of an odd angle. That looks good. Stand up for this. Get in there. You gotta just ball it up and let it heat and drop it in the hole. That looks fine. All right, so we have that. And there we're there. A little bit apart. Okay. That's hot. All right. And now we're going to go to master A. Master D. Well, actually, technically it's AB. So when you're doing this, let me get this in here so you can see. Okay, so what we're doing on this is going to come to here. Or I should say, yeah. That's going to go to there, that's going to go to there. It's a stereo pot, so when you turn it, it controls both sides. Then what we're going to do is we're going to jump it over to here, over to there. Because we're only going to relay what's coming out. So when we put the relay in there, what comes out of these goes into the relay, and then the relay chooses between this pot and this pot. So it'll be different. One will be your normal, cleaner volume, and the other one will be probably your lower volume, because you're going to be cranking the front end up, and what goes into your power tubes down. Unless you go crazy and do what you want, but you got all kinds of combinations between your gain and here to find that nice sound, that tone. Okay, so let's do that. Drink some beer. Here's my wire though. I do worry about a little bit of cross in this. It's probably won't be a problem, but you never know. I think I'm gonna wire it to the pot first. Go here. So when you're doing this and you wire your relay, you want to know which one is going to be your normal. When your relay is not active, what is your normal one? So you pick one. Normally I do it, you know, you got your A, B, B. You got your gain A, gain B, master, volume, whatever you call it, A and B. That way you go boom, boom, that way they're good and you know what's going on. So now let's just imagine that should be about there. We'll cut a little long just in case. Oh, it's a little longer. Okay. I'm going to do this right now, easier. I need my hemos. I don't think this is doing, of course. This could be better located, but that's fine. This is just the ground right here, so that will probably be fine. I could have had this a little farther over, but you know, I haven't routed it like this before, so it's kind of new. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to run this first. I want to keep them with one in between them. This way, I'm not having them cross. I'm trying to keep them apart as best I can. Oh, came open. Now let's get him over there. See, whoops. No, we're good. Okay, I thought I was doing something. It's not. We're fine. That's here. It's touching there. We're fine. Cut this a little long in case I want to play with it, change its routing or something. Okay, so we have that. Next, like I said, we're gonna see what kind of got any scrap laying around, so I'm not cutting any wires. I don't see any. Okay, we're gonna jump from here to there. Too much. I don't want it too much that it's causing a lot of distance, but I don't want it too short and it's going to be crossing any of this. Of course, it's literally the same signal, so I'm not really worried. A little bit of cross probably won't do anything since it's literally the same freaking signal. So I'm going to cut this just a tiny bit shorter. Okay. Good. See if we can get it in here. You actually may need to use the solid wire just because getting it in there might be a problem. Actually, look, it looks like we might be okay. Okay, yeah, we're actually okay. It didn't fray until I got inside. I think we're okay. He's down there. You can see it. He's got to come up. There we go. Don't want to be touching that ground. If it gets ground, it shorts the ground. That'd be a bad thing. Okay, this one came out. Let's solder this in. Well, it still looks pretty. Need some solder soon. I'm gonna get hot. There we go. Did not want to get hot. It is hot now. Okay, so that's good. Now let's run him over here. Ow, woohoo! Hot. I touched that. This other cable's still pretty hot too, but not as hot as touching that post. Okay, so he's gonna go in here. All right. Nice little wrap. That looks good. All right. Well, looking good. This one came out. Sometimes it's easier to do it one at a time, but you know, that's why I like to use the solid wire. A little easier to go make corrections. I want to do this. Where's my little? Let's get a little piece so I can do this. There and there. That'll work. Okay, let's get this baby in there. We got this thing. I want to see if I can get these things hooked together. Maybe I can just put them in one time. Not always possible. There we go. Does that one go in? No, that one's good. Okay. All right. The lie's good. Now I just got to get this one in here. Cable is a little hot. Okay. It does not want to cooperate. Put it in there. Thingy. Oop, thought he was going in. No, he frayed up. Right. Let that cool a second. All right. That's looking good. Get this guided out of the way. This isn't touching anything. Out of the way. That's just the ground. Okay, now let's put them in here. There, cut them here. Whoop. One of those ones you need to weigh down. All is good. Let's do the other one. them off just a tiny bit. I want to act like a jerk. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna cut it off a little more. It's too loose, meaning he's got too much play. And in this situation, we do not want him to have much play at all. Kind of a stiff wire. Does make, oop, it came out. It does make repairs a little harder if you need to, but that's okay. Shouldn't need to be doing any repairs anytime soon. You're almost in now. Put you down. Definitely being kind of a little dick. Okay, let's get him in there before he changes his mind. I took a minute to figure out how I was going to route this so I don't bore you with just me poking around in this amp. If you see, I have the relay board in there. I just want to make sure I have the routing in here. You see, I have the ones that are always connected. So are these top ones, first ones, which will go, so let me get this camera out of the way, and me out of the way of the camera, there and there. It's going to go there and there. And then I have 4 wires that are coming from the switching. Each side is 1/2. Each side of the relay is 1/2. So one side of the relay, one pole of the relay is here, one other pole of the relay is here. We jumped this to that. So one side is going to come off of here. I have this. These are 2. One's going to go there, get the hole eventually, and one is going to go here. Then the bottom one going to come up into the other side. Boom and boom. Of course, we'll ground these in a minute. So there we go with that. I'm having an issue getting the brackets I want to put these in, so I'm tempted to not do this, but I'm going to. I think we'll be fine. As long as I don't make it too tight, I want to be able to bring this out to connect it to the brackets, and also wire up the LED and the foot switch. So let's just get this in here. I'm going to wire this side of it and get this going, because this is our bias. Bias is going to come here. Let's just move this here so we can get a little bit more of this side, since that's what we're going to be working on. You got your bias pot over here. So your bias pot's going to come here. Then you're going to get your 220 resistors that are going to hit your signal. The signal's going to come back in here. We're going to put 2 more 0.1 capacitors in there just to clean out any stray DC that may have contaminated it, or signals that we don't want. So we're going to come back in here, it's going to go here, bias is going to come here, and then these are going to go to our power tubes. It's going to go, well, we're going to connected here and here, but there's also going to be a 5.6K resistor that goes to here. These pins aren't connected to anything. They're just used for connecting. So this is going to come here. Then a 5.6 resistor is going to go across to this pin. And that's how that's going to connect to the grid. Ain't it fun? Got to tie these together, but that's different. And then our output transformers, or every output transformer is going to connect to here and here. We're going to go blue and we're going to go brown, and we should be good. Then we have our grounds and our test points. So let's get in there. Make sure we have which one we want. I have them set up to where it's the right side and correct side. So let's get that in there. I think that'll be fine. I don't want that too close. I can always tighten it up with the bracket. So I'm going to leave this a little loose just so I don't get messed up with the bracket. Yeah, top of my stuff. Get him in there. Yeah, that's the way they want to play that. Where's my new ones? Also remember, when you're doing this, your voltages from your power supply are going to be a bit high. Remember, you're maxed out at 474 in case anything kicks out and your resistors stop working, they short out, anything happens. You want to make sure that you're rated for your full B+ value or voltage. These are rated for 630 volts. These should be fine. You can 400, 600, lots of things like that. But when you're in an amp with high voltage, just get the high ones. They're only like a couple bucks more. They have 600, which would totally be fine, but I just get the 630. Why the hell not? Yeah. Yeah, with these, your coupling capacitors, you can get, the voltage isn't a problem. The voltages are fine getting those. It's the electrolytics, the smoothing caps, you have a problem getting your voltages on. Remember, this is where I have to watch out. I have that big bolt in there. I don't want it very long, so cut it short. Not too short, hopefully not. Just enough to get in there. Yeah. And we should be good. Yeah. And there, and that one in there. Now, I can show it in the schematic of the original type. Generally, this is one setup. This doesn't have these four. It's just the one. It's coming off of here. It's simpler, but because we're using the post-phase inverter master, this is why this is more overly complicated. You're just going to do a straight amp, and you're not worried about anything. You don't have to do all this crazy crap. Or if you just want the fuzz, you don't want the post-phase inverter gain, you just want to use the preamp, put the master in between your last stage, or generally if your tone stack is last, in between your tone stack and your phase inverter, and that way it's simple as well. Oh, you're hot. Okay, that was good. There's this. Oh, that's that. Get out of the way. Now we want to get the other one in here. It's right here. I think we're getting some decent distance on this, which I'm really happy with. I think that's enough spacing. You figure it's already spacing there. I mean, you really got to get them pretty close across to cause problems. You definitely don't want these two touching because they're the opposite sides of the signal. So that crossing might cause some weird issues. I'm not 100% sure what it would do. I've never done that, never had that problem. sure you probably get some noise or some hum. Okay, you're actually going to stay in there? Well, cool. Okay, let's get you guys in there. All right, looking good. We're gonna move this. Now we want to get our 220s. 220, 220. All right, and I got all kinds of different ones. Oh yeah, these are a couple weird things. These are military spec resistors. You want super 1% ultra clean, those are good. Of course I got metal film we're going to use. Got your carbon comp, your old school. I'm going to go with these ones. Got your metal oxide power resistors, which I don't need at the moment. I just need these. All right, and these should be enough for the signal for the plate. Actually, you know, hold on, these are that. I don't even need that for this. I'm tempted to use the cheap ones because all this is power. So I'm actually tempted because metal film for signal. There's no signal here. But at the same time, they're going to be more stable, and there's your bias. So yeah, screw it. I'll use them for that. I don't need them to be incredibly strong. I'm a very little current in the bias section. So we're going to put these in here. Normally I like to use bigger ones, but these should be fine. I mean, it's the bias. There's not a whole lot of current in your bias. Because all it is negative. It's just negative voltage. Working the same way that your grid resistor works, your grid to ground resistor works. It's just doing it differently. Okay, 220. I don't know how to use because they're so big and small. Do the other one. All right. And now we have our resistors for our bias supply. And I cut a wire, bring a wire from here to there, and also these, like I said, they're going there. So cool. Let's bring them to here first. Let's put that in last. Actually, I want to do something else. Now, when you got your bias supply, your bias power supply, remember you have your cap. Remember it's backwards, showing the negative. That is smoothing it. It's also good to have another one smoothing. So I'm going to take one and haven't decided. I think I'm going to put it here as far as closeness. Seriously, this is like freaking. Yeah, so we're going to curl that in. This one we're just going to chop short. This one we're going to have to chop a little short too, but get our thingies. Got plenty of room, so it'll be fine. I'm not going to solder this to this post right now because I need to solder that to there. So I'll do that afterwards. Okay. But now I need to bring something from there. Remember, positive to ground, negative to here because it's a negative supply. That should be fine. That should be fine. I'm going to bring that in here so you can see it. A little bit of shininess from the lights. What I'm going to do something. I'm going to put this in here. There's a couple ways you can do this. Bit of ground there, wherever. Ground, as long as it gets grounded, the your cap, whew, getting windy, is there. Okay. Go is backwards. That's ground, that's in. It's backwards. So let's put that in there. Fill the hole. Nice and shiny. I'm not going to connect it to here yet. I'm going to bring it, it's going to go there. Let me cut it. You want it kind of tight. So it's going to go there. Then we need some more of that. So let's just cut it here for the moment. That should be good. Let me cut a tiny bit off. I'm going to do this, but before I connect it, I'm going to do something different. Let's do another one because we haven't actually given it any power. So let's go and wire the supply that's going into the pot. But I want to do something. All right, that's a nice one. There we go. Fill the hole. Nice and smoky. Find out. I'm going to put that. Put it there. I'm going to go a little long. Probably should have gone a little longer with the other one, based on what I'm about to do. So let's just do this. Just make sure there's no hum. Yeah, that's what I thought. Should have made it longer because I'm doing this stupid thing to it, and it's making it short. Okay. Well, we'll be fine. Did a bit short. So we're going to unwind it just a little bit. Okay. What I'm going to do, this. I'm going to wind it around itself. I'll do like this. I'll have the other one wind around it. Okay, so we have that there. Oh, nice. Okay, well, that was a bad idea. I'm not going to undo it. I don't think it's DC, so I'm not worried about it, but I just want to kind of do it. The thing I'm going to put it in there, because this thing is just too many things in this hole. This is where a third hand, or like an arm with a clamp in it would be nice. Okay, there we go. You all don't pop out. Seriously. I'm having one of Joe's drop everything days. There we go. I have plenty of there, so I'm just going to wrap this around this. one, and they reduce any weird hum that might be there, and two, get it out of the goddamn way. Ugh. Okay. Not enough winding to do any transfer of freaking electricity. Okay, this one, little complicated. Don't want to touch much. All right, that should be good. That's good contact. Now we have some good shit there. Now I have that. I'm gonna leave it like that until I'm ready to do it. Okay, now let's send some signal over to that thing. Okay, so now we are powered. Well, once we actually have this thing turned on and hooked to the main power supply, we're good with that, we're good with that. Now we need to run it to the plates. All right. Are you all following along? Got to get some schematics, man. It's all same basic shit as far as the push and pull. So, you know, if you're doing single-ended crap like that, I'm not really big into single-ended. I know a lot of people are. I don't give a shit about those too much. Maybe I'll build one day, I don't know. Not really my thing. I does not want to go in there. There we go. And jam his butt in there. Let's get him also changed up. I don't know, something a little sweeter. It's all good. I don't know, I'm supposed to tell you what the hell I'm drinking. I know YouTube rules and shit like that, but yeah, it's clear. And it tastes like lemon. I don't drink them too often. It's kind of a shitty angle. Hard to get that thing in there. I think I'm good. You know, we'll find out when we turn it on. Sometimes happens. Get a bad solder. Go in there, redo it. That's why I mentioned I like this solder. It's really good. Contains 40% lead, so you know I should probably stop using my teeth to pull it out. But it's nice and shiny. I mean, it'll tell you if your solder sucks. I've had some stuff that doesn't matter what you would do, how you do it, it will not go shiny, which is a problem. You need to know if your solder sucks, and if it looks like everything sucks, well then that's a problem. So we're going straight here. All right, now we're going to go here, and we're going to go with the 5.6K resistor. Now what's cool about these specific tube sockets is they have double holes. So, a little easier to get multiple things in there. Imagimos. So we're going to go bottom hole. Oh, That hole is huge, and still this thing wants to fray. I think, seriously, what is wrong with you? There we go. I bend this thing. Ooh, I bend it down a little too far. I bend it down. Wrap it around real nice. There we go. It's looking good. Now we got a 5.6K. We got these ones. These ones you may want to have some good wattage for. Some say you need a lot, some say you don't need much. I mean, you're going to have people that literally will freaking not use anything with ratings less than the quantity of atoms in a sun multiplied by the speed of light. They get a little freaking ridiculous. It's like sometimes overkill is exactly what it is, overkill. Okay, this is where it's going to have to stand up real high. Okay, it is what? Yeah. So we're going to have to get this and have to do that whole bend like this. Ooh, going to look like a, what do you call it, a silver mica. Once we got that, let's check it. I think that'll work. Now we need to cut them. Now let's bend them. Use my little roundies. These are really, really nice. If you want a nice round bend, look at that, that's nice. I want to do, so we got the top one, that'll work. Let's cut these a little shorter. These are always fun. Good thing is these leads are super thick. So, I mean, they're nice to work with. They don't bend like crazy. They easily bend, but they're not just squishing all over the place like some of the smaller items, where it's just really annoying. Okay, right there. Let's see if we can get them to stay right there. I think that works good. Yeah, let's see. This one's a little harder. Oop, what's going on there? Yeah. Get a little bit of heat there. There we go. Yep, I don't think I got the resistor in there good. There we go. That's what I was looking for. So now we have that. Now we can move on to the next one. All right, let's do it. Where's my wire? I hate wearing these glasses. Can't see. I've gotten farsighted as I got older. Everything gets a little bit farther. Past the length of my hand, I see perfectly. I can see people walking on the moon, but come here, can't see a goddamn thing. Sometimes I can see it, but not with a whole lot of clarity. I mean, if I had to, I could do this. I can barely see that this says 22. And quite frankly, I don't like wearing glasses. Let's get a minute like here, like that's, I can't see enough to move around this capacitor. Get in there, stop being a dick. Alright, hopefully I'm not talking too loud in this microphone. So just to reiterate, we are going into the plates, or sorry, into the grid of the power tubes. But you want to have a resistor, not completely necessary, but it's really good to have, especially when we're dealing with all those long run crap. You can have a 1.5, you can get up to 45. If you're having a lot of weird stray noise, then I would suggest bringing this up to a higher resistance. Especially, like I said, we're dealing with all this kind of crap. So there it is. So this is just feeding the negative voltage into the grid. Yes. I thought I screwed up again, but no, I didn't. I'm fine. I'm like, oh shit, did I do something? No, I'm fine. We're fine. Got your signal coming from your phase inverter into here. Normally this wouldn't be here, but because of this whole crap, so it's going into our pots, or into the relay, back into here. We put some capacitors on it, help clean up some shit. Make sure any stray DC isn't there. This negative DC is fine, because that's why it's there. But that's all it's doing, supplying the negative voltage, and then it's jumping into the grids. So let's jump that baby into the grid. I think I'm going to use this. Oops. You know, I think I'm going to... Yeah, I'm not going to solder this yet. So let's cut this about here. Let's run it through here. Bring up here and let's see. Do I need to? Yeah, that'll be fine. Don't hit the camera. Okay, now let's put this one in here first, just because it's easier. You don't get in people's way. All right, jam it in with the capacitor. All right, clean my thingy. Okay, this one I have a little more room here. Come on, let's get hot. There it is. You know it's hot enough when you can literally melt on all the little components that are in there. If they can't, then it's not hot enough and the solder's not going to stick it to it, and you're going to get a bad solder. Which is why you want to touch all the components, but you don't want to apply the solder when you're touching unless you have to. And at that point, I'll just blop the living crap out of it. I'm looking for my hemostats. I lost them again. No, I dropped them again. Okay. What was I saying? Oh yeah, sometimes you can't, so I'll just blop the living hell out of it. And there's that thing where I said you can see it drop. You'll see all of a sudden the big ball will drop, and it usually is when the temperature is right. All right. Bang him down. All right, that's good. Let's get another 5.6. These are supposed to be metallized film, which are some of the best you can use for this because it doesn't give any flavor. Unless you're looking for flavor, then you know it's not the best, but I'm not looking for flavor. The capacitors, that's one you like to play with. A lot of people really like to play with this style of capacitors. Wow, this thing is... Well, that's right, because I had that one bent out. I'm like, why is this so different? Okay. Capacitors can do a lot more flavors. Some of it is the ear of the beholder. So there's always that. This thing just doesn't want to go in there. And he's in there. Sorry, my hands are in the way, but that's just the way this is. All I'm doing is connecting it to the pin. This one didn't stand to be nice like the other one was. Oh well. So I don't want it to fall. This other side, I can't quite get them in here. Pinch them. Getting on the corner, it's a little hard. Okay, you know, that actually will be fine in that position. Need it. All right, soldered good. Yes. Can't quite get on the other side of this. This position's all wrong. But it was getting hot enough that I can do it way up here. We're good. The top one just does not want to do it. There you go. Well, okay. We are looking good. What are we doing now? I'm going to put the output transfer in there, output transformer. We'll connect that now because I think I'm getting a little crowded. That needs to be dealt with. So let's do that. Shit, definitely got a little crowded. Hoping I can get this video finished. There's a storm coming. Possibility of tornadoes like always around here. But you know, if you're watching this video, I didn't get killed by a tornado, so you know, good for me. Okay, I'm going to check this at 20, see if it's 20. Ooh, again. Okay, I made it 20. That's good. Top, bottom. Let's go bottom. Actually, it wasn't 20. I definitely lost a couple strands, but at that short distance, it's not going to make any goddamn difference. You use a lot of strands with a long run missing strands, yeah, you got a problem. But it's only like, shit, that's like point blank range right there. That's like nothing. Okay, so I believe that's the right spot. Okay, let's put a little soda in there. Alright, that's a good soda. Now let's hook this one up. Remember, make sure you have them in the right spot. And this one wants to be underneath here. whatever. That's what it is. So we got that one there. Maybe that one a little tight. We can cut them there. That's what I was looking, about 18. If that 20 didn't work, let's try 18. Yeah, sorry, that's not 18. Okay, it's just, that's weird. It's kind of a weird gauge. Where's my little screwdriver? No. I swear this glass is messing with my depth perception. I'm really used to working extremely close to stuff. I got used to it, now it's kind of hard that I can't quite do that anymore. Just natural way I am. The wind is really picking up. Okay, that's nice and hot. Right, brings a bear. Yeah, all right. So except for the grounding of the power tubes, that's all good to go on that side. Now we need to deal with the phase inverter. Our phase inverter has a couple parts to it. One, you got this side. This is a weird, it kind of looks cool if you look at it the way it's, see, this comes off the cathode. So you got your cathode, you see that good? So your cathode of both halves, 3 and 8, go here. You go 470. This one right here, this 470 definitely likes to control some of the power, I believe. It's the, no, sorry, not that one. This one. This one and this one. Definitely controlling power. You got your 100 here. You increase this, you get less volume. This is also where if you're going to put a presence control, that's would be in this position instead of that. But this right here definitely controls it. Wow, that wind. Well, I think the rain just hit. You don't mind, I'm gonna keep working and keep yelling. This is freaking pretty standard. This setup right here is standard. This is your negative feedback resistor. This could be any number of values depending on the frequencies you want to get. I'm gonna go with, I think I said I'm doing 33 because that's what I have, and that's that. So let's wire this up before it gets nuts. And I think something in the barn is dead. It does not smell good over here right now. Then we're going to put this one. This is your 0.01, or sorry, your 0.1. Then we got an 022. And we're going to put here. Yeah, right there, right? Down, yeah. Here goes here. Yeah, it ain't started raining yet, but it might get too loud to do this. It's a metal roof, so even just a sprinkle is quite annoying. Okay, hold shit. Okay, yeah, I'll make this one a little short. I'm real close to the negative on the capacitor. I just want to make sure I don't get weird. So yeah, we should be fine there. Then of course, we have your 1 millions and your 470. Where's my 470? Right here. Now, not really in the same signal path, and coming off the cathode, that's 470K, 470. So yeah, I'm gonna bigger ones. Just be there. That's what I'm looking for. There they are. I don't want to use no metal film on this. But I have these nice big fat ones right here I'm going to use. Okay. So you got that 470. Ooh, a little short. And some 1 millions. Use these ones. Don't need the big one. These ones will be good enough. Hey. Remember, tube amp for dummies. Say, Brian, why are you doing this? Because that's the way it's supposed to be done. Hey, why are you changing spark plugs like that? Because that's the way they're supposed to be done. And that's the way I look at this. Like I said, you don't need to be a goddamn genius to do this stuff. You just, follow what it's like baking. It's a fucking recipe. Are you making your own recipes? No. But I have some cakes that I found some pretty good recipes for. I tell you, them badass cakes. I didn't need to invent them. I just need to make sure I did it right. And that's the whole concept. You're building kits, they're easy. You want to make slightly your own designs, that's cool. But still stay within the limits until you really know what you're doing and why these things are doing what. And that's the main thing. Why are they doing what they're doing? And that's all you really need to know to some extent. If you're going to start designing. I'm not going to start designing, who gives a shit? Okay. There is that. But like these little tweaks. You know why you're doing it, the little tweaks. Like this little cathode cap thing we got going on. Yeah, gonna need to know a little bit to do that. What do you want? But like I said, it's all been done. This is almost 100-year-old technology. Let's not forget that you said I was gonna go 33? Yeah. Okay. Supposed to be a metal film. But they're not always consistent. The color coding. The color coding of the lines, yes, that's math. But the actual color and look, I'm hoping they stay consistent. Because you buy stuff, some of this stuff's been in here for, since freaking 2011. I bought a bunch of stuff, so when I look at it, I'm like, shit, what kind is that? I don't know. Try to look it up, and like, well, it's not always guaranteed that that thing that looks like that is what it is, depending on who made it. I'm like, well, that's bullshit. Okay, so there's that. Now, I have 100 ohm. I do have 100 ohm. Yeah, we'll use it. I got these ones. Ooh, they're pretty. I don't need a whole lot of. These are half watts. Should be fine. Yeah, if I need anything different, I could go to 270. But those are pretty. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it here. It should be fine. All right, we're good. If not, you're buying a bunch of stuff, buy big stuff. 1 watts, hell yeah. Freaking, I mean, these things right here, half watt, quarter watts. Can you even see these things with these? Look at these ones. Half watt, quarter watts are what you see on most schematics. Let's say that is what's there, because that's all that's really required. So, but you know, if you can get it, buy everything freaking 1 watt. It's all good. So this is in, when it comes from your preamp, that's what's going in. So this will come off of here. Yeah, that's a long run. It's a good thing I got this right here. Ooh, ooh. See, this is what I'm afraid of. It's coming off of way over here. If you could look on the main camera, here's one. Edit, the main camera. Here. I have to get from here to here. And sometimes this is your biggest problem. That's a big honking run. It is. And because I did this, now I have to worry about getting signal contamination from this. So you're always worried about that. And what I may do is I'm going to run it here. I'm going to run it to this. Here underground, go here. And I think I'm going to pop a hole right here so it goes underneath and pops up. This DC here shouldn't be a problem since it's already running. I mean, DC is DC. I mean, it's getting hit with it constantly. It's not going to be a problem. And that big old cap, I mean, that's a big old cap. Should be fine. So I'm going to run it here, go underneath, and drill a hole there and pop up. That way I'm not dealing with that crap. Or I could run it across here, but now there's going to be a flying witch outside in a minute. So let's not discuss that. Let's get this. So negative feedback is going to connect to your output coming off your transformer. We're using green. These are going to be used. I'm not going to use a switch. I'm just going to use this. Deal with this in a minute. I'm going to. Here, we're going to go here. I probably need to. Where is what? It is 1, 2. Should be this one. Go here. I'm going to get my continuity tester here. Multimeter. Jesus, crazy outside. So you hear that? Shunt, not shunt, shunt, not shunt. So it's that one. Let me just get it here. I'm going to run a wire. I have a 16 ohm one that I'm going to use. So I'm going to run an extra wire. This is the safety resistor. I honestly don't remember what the hell the wattage is on it. I'm going to have to run it, but if I use this or not, I'm still going to run this because I don't know if I'm the resistor just here or I'm just going to mount it like that and whatever. So it is what it is. God damn, it's getting crazy outside. So let's get this baby on. When the rain starts, I'm probably done. I'm actually going to be running 3 cables off this. That's really close. I'm gonna shunt down like that. Get this down to ground over here. I'm gonna run a couple wire. I'm stuck. Okay, I'm gonna run a ground off the ground. I'm not 100% sure where I'm gonna land it, so I'll leave it a little long. These things are just all up in my way. So let's bring him like this. I read stuff where it said, oh, you don't ground the output transformer. Yeah, I tried that once. It went on, and it just was all kinds of pissed off. So I don't know what kind of system they were using, what was going on, but yeah, that was a bad idea. So yeah, ground it. Okay, so let's solder him in. There's my solder. Come on. There you go. Didn't want to get hot. Okay, that one's good. Now, I'm just going to cut this stupid long. Just keep him, I don't know where he's going. So I need to cut a wire to go to the output, I'm sorry, the safety resistor. This is going to get a little crowded. Okay, now I need one to go to the negative feedback. So let's just cut him. Yeah, should be fine. I was thinking you came off there with the shit. No, that's no. Okay, never mind. Sometimes I think about weird shit. It doesn't work out in my head. Or whatever. Or what's in your head don't work out in reality and shit. It's getting a little crowded. Let me just cut this a little bit off. Solid cable. Okay. I got this. All kinds of stuff going on here. Shit. Right. We will deal with the shunt when we know what the hell is we're doing with it. Now let's go here. Power. Oh god. That should be fine. It's just DC. It's going to come up most likely, so when you come up is, remember, this thing's going to be upside down. If you build it like this, it's a lot easier to understand your control, but when you don't, it can get a little weird. Bend. Okay, stand there. Ah, come on. Yep, don't burn. Don't burn the cables. Come on, fill up. There you go. Getting close. We need a 10K. Remember, that can change depending on your design, but I tend to use this. I like it. My amps tend to be very powerful. I generally build 100 watts. This is 40 watt. And there's the range. So let's get 10K before this shit goes to hell. Excuse me. Let me just deal with signal, are we? Yeah. We want something nice. I just use a big giant one. Don't like a plan? Why not? Here comes the rain, everybody's screaming. Okay, so solder this together. We're going to solder this junk together. These things need to go play. This in, that's ground. That's the in from here, from the preamp. And these are all going to phase inverter 2. Strength this, whatever the hell this shit is. Let's get these. Ah, shit. You know, I just dropped a bunch of shit everywhere. Shit, everything's went crazy. Alright, we can stop here, but we ain't no bitches, bro. Let's get this shit done. Sorry, this motherfucker in here. Oh, hard to get up. Shit. Alright. Let that to cool. Put him back in the hole. Alright. Okay, we still need to ground him. We still need to ground this guy. He didn't get grounded. I forgot. Should have done it when I put this one in. I grounded there. I should have grounded that to there. I still can. I'll figure that out in a minute. Or another time, because that's not what we're doing right now. Okay. And weird sounds outside. Okay, so what are we doing? Let's check the cheat sheet. This is pin 2, 1, grid, both cathodes. So we're going to go grid, cathodes. Trying to make sure we keep it the same. It needs to make sure that regardless of 2 or 7 or what, this one, yeah, 7, this one, 2. Keep up exactly the same. Holy shit, it's fucking loud out here. Well, it's not like I can actually go inside. Yeah, I'm going to get wet. So, hey. Fuck it, let's do it. Follow them out and do it. Come on. Damn it. Bravo. Going to go underneath output transformer wire just to avoid it. Okay, now go to the other grid. Damn. It is coming down. We're going to ground the cathodes. We're going to run the cathodes to here. Okay, so we're connecting the cathodes. Give it a second to cool. The next one. It's kind of hard to talk out here when it's so goddamn raining. I don't know if you can hear a goddamn thing I'm saying. And my EQ add-ons in my editor really aren't that great. See right here, you got some phrase. Might be a problem, so we're gonna bend the cathode out a little bit. All right. Don't really like that solder. That didn't work. That's not working. There we go. Okay, so our phase inverter set with this ground is connected. It is set up. Of course, we don't have the input, we don't have the ground, but it is now connected. This pin here is pin 9. It's only used if you're doing 6.3 heaters. I'm not using that as we discussed in the previous video. That way that pin is not being used. At this point, we got very little to do, but it's so goddamn loud out here. I think I'm going to cut the video short. I'm going to sit out here. I can't go back in the house, so if it calms down, I will continue the video. So if I don't see you, see you. Okay, weather got a little crazy there. I mean, we almost had a problem. I was a little worried, but it died down, and I was able to run to the house and get some more to drink. So we're safe, we're good, and we're gonna continue. It's a little loud, but not like it was. So let's continue with this. So what we have here, I just drilled a hole in here. Let's see if we get all, let's see how I'm getting here. 1, 2, 3, 1. Gang. There it is. Okay, here. Can you see that? Cool. So we're going to run a wire from here to here. Kind of get a little short on wire. I think we'll be okay though. So this ought to be interesting. How we get that in there, I don't know. Oh, curly, we're going to drive it down there. And oh, okay, there's a big old cable in there. Shit, so we ain't get in there. You're going to have to go upside down with my hemos. Okay. Gonna have to walk them to where we want it. Alright, you get in there. Alright. So we have gain, we're going here. Third one. We'll hook them here, and we'll route them second, once we got them all in there. Thing is always wanting to break. Crazy. Okay, there we go. Get them in there. Get that nice mechanical connection. Continue, baby. All right, that's nice. Look at that. That's a good one. Celebrate. All right. Well, this one. You know what I'm thinking? It's already super long. So what if I just push them in there, try to hook them in. I've got this little funky thing here. I mean, you don't want it long, but it's already long. My point is, if I put them down below this, I might be able to keep them away from that wire. But with gravity, I am afraid that is going to be a problem. I am tempted. Maybe running it through this one would be the plan. Getting it back up that hole, however, is going to be an act of God. There's just no way that's, maybe, no, I don't know, no way, but I just don't see how that's going to fucking happen. And now I have them cutting right here. So, let's do something crazy. See if I can do it. Take a drill. So much shit in my way. Oop. You haven't quite got him in there. I'll piss that off. Almost. Almost got it. Can't seem to quite get him in there. The screwdriver there. Problem is it's there, but it's not far enough over. So we would have to get that thing over there, so that doesn't work. So what's the plan? Cut it long. We'll pull it out. Almost had it. Did it. If that's the case, I'm not going to run it underneath there. I'm going to run it straight. So I'm not going to do that. Ooh, got a little close to the ground. Now let's not do that. So boom, I have it. It goes there. I think we're safe. Just bring this up a little bit. More tension. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Cool. Making a prayer, baby. That's what we're working on. We're not living on a prayer. That shit's gay. Winging a prayer. Greatest American hero. It's a little less gay. Now we are connected. Let's get some solder, baby. There we go. Look at that. Yeah, that's good solder right there. See, sometimes you just need to half-ass this shit and figure it out, because you can plan, you can plan, you can plan. Well, if you're a great planner, you know, knock yourself the fuck out. I'm not a great planner, but I think this will be fine. Like I said, this is already an issue that you got things crossing. This to there, don't like it. It's kind of just cost of doing business. I mean, sure, there's better ways of doing it, but I don't know it. My thing is, I'm telling you how to connect this shit together. Your job is your fucking amp to go out there and figure the best way that you can do it. Shorter runs are great. Reason why I put these so far apart. Oh, you can't see that. Hold on. Let me move it. I put these so far apart. I could actually put it farther apart. I mean, you almost wish that tubes were single instead of two. Because I would love to be able to just to go 1, 2, 3, 4 instead of 2. I could just move. Look at that cross shit. Just going from there to there. I'd rather be able to go straight, 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 straight. Now, if I wasn't putting this crazy crap in right here, it probably wouldn't be an issue. But I'm putting crazy crap in because as for the guy, that's all I do is I want to build amps with crazy shit. Because the fuck do I want to just build an amp for? I mean, like I said, it's a hobby. Let's go do some crazy shit. But let's go put this away. And what are we left with this amp section? Because I want to end this video with this amp shit. We're good. Everything, we got to put a ground in here. Let's just throw a ground cable in there. I don't know where the hell I'm going to ground it, but let's at least put it in there. So it's soldered in. You can say that issue is freaking done. God damn. I think it'll be a day. Huh, there you go. Solder his ass in there. Good there. I have the wire too far in, melted the shit out of the plastic. We're good. It's not a bad solder. Might be able to go here. I'd love to go here, but I got a wire through it. That'd be a great ground. But I really don't think I could put that in there without completely fucking up that wire. This one will probably end up over here. I'll get that to a minute. Get that to. I will get to it in a minute. Jesus. Okay, I still got to ground this shit. We got that. Remember our center taps? Right here. We haven't ground our center taps. I'm going to ground that center tap. I'll turn my glass off so I can monitor. Here. So, here's our center tap wire. Remember, it's over here. We did the center tap, so I'm going to ground it here because it's a great ground. And I'm going to put this test probe area, test point, also to ground there. I'm going to put this one to ground it here with this cap. Should be fine. So we got to put these together to there, and 1 ohm. So let's do that and get this goddamn amp section done. I won't be able to do a test of the amp section. It's too goddamn loud. I won't be able to hear anything if there's a problem. I'm probably just going to wire this up and call it a day. So let's do that. Okay, we're using grounding wire. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, a little tricky. Yeah, it's tricky. Rocker, right on time. It's tricky. Okay. Dating myself. This would be much easier with salt water. I think I'm going to tin it a little bit. All right. So I'm going to spin this down here. Here's my round ones. Spin it back around. So I go to the bottom hole. All right, that is some straight up connected shit. And go here. Ooh, that's going through the hole over. Good. Let's go over here. All right. That shit is connected. So that's going to go to there. So let's just, heck is that? Get in my ways. Is it there? I'm going to cut it a little long like always. It's always good. Ah! Shit. Too much shit. You got a huge place to work. It's all good. Putting these little bins over here kind of screw me up. It's the first time building in this setup, so I'm a little out of my element. I built the barn. I built the other amp, but I didn't have this. So I built it over there, just kind of half-assed, and everything was along the back wall. It was nice, but now I did this for the cameras and shit, so it's kind of fucked up. Okay, that's a little ugly, but what I need, 1 ohm, 1 watt, 1 ohm. Let's see if I can pull this shit off. Old Hemos. Ooh, 1 watt. This thing's got some flimsy essays. There we go. Like that. And a little bigger. Wrap this shit around. This is a test point. If you follow my series, you know why. When you bias your amp, you need to, when you change your tubes, you need to bias your amp. This is the test point. It's a 1 ohm resistor. Your cathode's generally straight ground. You just put 1 ohm and it still works great. But with 1 ohm, your milliamps and your voltage is exactly the same. So you're looking for a certain amount of millivolts. As a test point, I got the banana clips. This shows another video. Please watch them in series. Less confusing. Especially with all the other crazy shit that goes on in my videos. Much less confusing. These are a bitch to open. I really drove me crazy. Alright. Anyways, I plug in my nano clips. Can't get the damn thing up, but I'm gonna do it. The test points. On the other side, they're sticking out. So when you change your tubes, you don't need to pull your amp out to bias it. They're literally two test probes on top. You just got to pull out if you got a screen, a grill, whatever is, or it's full open, however you have your amp. You just do that and you bias it. It is the wattage you're seeking divided by your plate voltage is what you're looking for. So depending on what is used, find out the wattage of your tubes, and you want to do 70%. So 70% of your tubes, a lot of times some of it's like 19 watts. The 19 divided by your plate voltage and you get your millivolts. So you put it in there and you hit your bias until you get to that millivolts you want. Now if you want to get your shit sounding crazy, but you want to cook your freaking plates on your power tubes, well then crank it up. We'll discuss a little bit of this in a minute. There is one thing I need to do to that. I almost forgot. I'll do that later. Hopefully I won't forget. And here comes the rain again. Falling on my head like a memory. Falling on my head like a new emotion. Here come again, yeah! Okay. I think it's freaking thick. I didn't think it was going to heat up. Okay, so I got a little bit of lower volume right now with the rain. As you can see, get everything about buttoned up. I got this one set up, the test point to ground. I have our center taps to ground. I actually had to replace this. I started maneuvering this and the damn wire just broke off. Apparently, too much down there got too cooked. So I test continuity, we're good. So I had to redo a wire. I did the ground, test point to ground, test point to ground. Let me see if I can just get this. I don't want to, when it comes to the bias, you can do it to the base, but is it really grounded that well? Not really, especially the fact that I painted it. So I'm gonna bring it down into this, down here. Probably should have thought of that before I soldered all that up, but of course, I don't know if I have enough length because I'm gonna touch this resistor. So honestly, I'm going to have to do it up here. I'm going to have to link it up here. So what you can do is you can solder it to a higher point. As long as you know that you got some continuity, you don't have any bad solders here, I can, let me humor that. Seriously, I keep losing my shit. Oh, whatever, use this. I don't know where they went. So I'm going to solder it here. I really can't do this. My hemos. There. So I'm going to solder it to the lead of this. That way I'll have enough room to solder it here and keep in the air. Hard to get in here. Here it is, fully connected. What I have here is a 10K resistor. Some people use higher resistors, depends on what you want. Because what you don't want, you don't want your bias to go to zero. The more voltage, the more negative voltage that you have into your grid, talked about that a second ago, the less it works. It kills it. It doesn't let it run away. So you bring it down in voltage, like I said, until you get to that bias point, that wattage point that you want. So you don't want that to be ground to zero. I'm going to use a 10K because I want to be able to I want a little bit more flexibility. If you use too high, it's like Fender at times uses 100. I don't like that because then you really only get about a 3 or 4 volt difference. And what's the point? If you don't have everything perfect, then you can't use it. You're wondering, you're over here using resistors, trying to get everything just to bring it down before it even gets to here. But if it's within reason and you have a little bit more flexibility, I'd rather have only a 10K and have a lot more flexibility. But when you start your amp on, crank it all the way full before you do it. I mean, put the pot all the way on so you got max voltage. And you bring it down. You don't want to start it dead because then it's too much. I've actually seen the plates on tubes turn red. And that was because I had done a bunch of stuff, forgot to rebias, and I talked about those motherfuckers who sold me those matched pairs bullshit. They weren't matched for shit. So deal with that crap with what you will. So let's start this motherfucker on here. Now let's get this. Now they're mechanically connected. Now they're solder connected. What we want to do. Now when it's hot, you might get a little bit more resistance. But let's see what we got. I'm gonna put this in here, connected to freaking chassis. .89. Like I said, there's some variance. So, and that's K. You can see the K at the top. 9.9K, 9.9, 9.89. So that's pretty good. So that's straight to the chassis. You're gonna see what I'm doing. This is how I test, especially when it's live. You don't want to be going probing like this, then you're creating a circuit, you die. So what I like to do is when I have a chassis that has these mounting things, I'll stick my negative in here, so all I have to do is probe in here. Unless I'm doing between 2 points, if I'm just testing voltages and stuff, put it there, you have one hand, you're not gonna fucking kill yourself. Boom, 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 boom. It's all good. And with that said, this weather ain't gonna let up. It's all over. Hopefully my next video we can actually test with the speaker before we hook this up. See you later.